00435-722, and engineering has made that recommendation. Bond release from Bridle Creek, Phase 5, Section 2, lots 305 through 348, and lots 393 through 406, BCP file number 2211-352, tied to BCP file number 2201-008, and number 2211-351, as well as 2012-381, 2008-186, and 021-13. Bond number for that is 100550921, and engineering has made that recommendation. Any questions for Doug on that? Doug, good to go. Thank you, sir. Grant acceptance for DHHR for adult mental health grant. Need to have all that in here. And that takes care of the consent agenda, so can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. We have Mr. Hess here, Honorable Larry Hess, the assessor for correction of assessment logs. We had 7 personal tax exonerations.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right.
It's a short week. We don't have a whole lot this week, but we do have those 7. And for the normal reasons, we had to correct them, double billing, that type of thing. The one on the bottom, you might want to know about, that $3,579.
Quite the wrong value.
Yeah, the vehicle was worth $22,275, and they keyed in $222,275.
Sound like a Lamborghini, maybe.
So it made a big difference. So, but the total of those 7 come up to $4,523.36.
All righty. You've heard that. So can I have a motion to approve the 7 personal tax exonerations due to office error?
So moved.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
That's all I have.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board of meeting reports, Mr. Boyd.
A couple meetings this week. Martinsburg Main Street meeting. They gave reports on their downtown food event. Profited $16,000 this year on the event. They're doing well financially, self-maintaining at the time, though their numbers are down from 23, but a lot of that was due to one-time, ARPA money and things they received from the city and the county. And so the numbers in 23 are skewed a bit, but they say they're still doing well. They have Christmas on Main coming up December 7th. And they made the announcement that they will be moving from where they are located now in the hub downtown to the Caperton Station 5th floor. They got a 1-year lease from the city for free. So
Kind of hard to beat that price.
right, so that'll save them a chunk of money on their rent for the year, and they'll be in that corridor there by the Roundhouse and the Apollo and all that. So I think that's a good move for them now. And they do have the main event coming up, which will be just like a celebration of 24 and move into 25. $75 a ticket. It'll be at the new venue on Queen, owned by Bricks. They're beside Habanero, and that is.
So that's all finished now?
It will be it's pretty close. And
Looks very nice.
And it'll be open. This is January 17th that they're having that event. It's a full dinner with hors d'oeuvres and dessert. Like I said, $75 a ticket. There's only 150 tickets. They have less than 100 left right now. So selling well, they think, for being November. And there's another event that's not their event but they are advertising. It's being put on by a few different businesses. But they're doing a December 18th a Santa crawl. People dress up like Mrs. Claus or Mr. Claus and go from restaurant to restaurant, bar to bar, and things through downtown. That is not a Main Street event, but they are helping advertise it.
Okay.
And that's about the gist of Main Street this month. And we had our Roundhouse meeting last night. It was the first sit down since the proposal to move and put the museum at the Roundhouse in the Bridge and Machine Shop. Most of the museum board was present last night at the meeting. I think for the most part it went well. There were some questions by a couple members of the Roundhouse. But I think it's going to work out well. Everybody met each other with questions and different things, and there's still the planning that's got to be done, and a lot of things on that end. Obviously, there was proposed to have a high-end company, like because of the diversity of how many things have happened here in Berkeley County, like what's actually going to be in the museum and exhibits and that sort of thing. So they want some studies done or plans done. And then we got a letter from Randall Reed Smith and the SHPO that approved us to get rid of some of the trip hazards in the Roundhouse itself. Any of the tracks that are not main tracks into the turntable out the big doors, which are several, we're now approved to put concrete, not concrete over the tracks. You'll still see the top of the tracks, but the grooves where you could, if a woman was in a high heel or whatnot, she could catch her heels in. They've given us the approval to fill those with concrete.
Grout. A grout would be a better use.
Okay, well, when Randall was there, we looked at, there were a couple that had already been done that way, but there's a lot of little parking spots and things in there that are not of use, and so we had been trying to put electrical conduit in those, and it comes in those rolls, and it's almost impossible to get it completely flat, and it wants to curve back up out and pop up. So when he was there, we addressed it, and he called SHPO and helped us get that done. So I wanted to give a thank you to him for that. The Merrymakers Market starts next Friday is a preview, and then it'll be Saturday, Sunday, and then every weekend until the weekend before Christmas down there. Be lots of cool things down there. Santa, the Grinch.
Will there be any elves there?
Not quite sure, but I'll try to see if I can call Santa and get the elves down there too. And
You volunteering?
No, I'm too large for elves.
He take quite the elf. Who would be the elf? Was it,
Stage of Santa.
So that'll be there. There's I believe over 100 vendors every weekend. There's still people trying to get in for that. So that should be a real good event. And we discussed and decided to just send a letter to the city and tell them thanks for the trying to help us get the grant for the ADA sidewalk stuff, but there's just too much going on there, and it isn't working out to be able to get it. It was for $8,200, but to go towards the ADA sidewalk, but it's proven to be too much to work out. So unfortunately, we're going to say thanks, but no thanks. And then we did receive several LEDA funds to help pay and finish paying for the additional upgrade of the electric. Some of those checks have come in and were deposited, and things are moving right along there. Other than that, that's about it.
Mr. Barnhart.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. I had a Board of Health meeting, which was right after the legislative meeting, which I'm sure you'll report on because you were actually there.
Mm-hmm.
The Board of Health meeting was mostly just departmental reports. The EPI report, he had a case of infant botulism that infant is recovering, so it's not that terrible. So that was interesting. The environmental report, they're down 2 sanitarians. They had to let one go because he just wasn't fitting in and trying to close everything instead of trying to work things out. So, he went by the highway. Administrator report, they're having a bit of a problem with Black Draft site out there, getting into a real shouting match, and that should prove to be interesting. Financial report, everything's fine. Health officer's report was none because he wasn't there. It was my last Board of Health meeting, and I told them I've been coming to Board of Health meetings since 1976. Yeah, that's what I thought. Always enjoyed the Board of Health, and they've always been concerned about the public and all that kind of stuff. And I hope and wished them well. And left.
Okay.
That was it. 1976.
That was 48 years ago, by the way.
Did you start at 18 or
Parks
are
and
you
Rec
that
in
old?
1976.
I'm that old.
Well, Jim, we really want to thank you for your tenure and looking out for the county and
Yeah, it's been a while.
in your career. I know this is one of the last.
I came here in 1972.
Yeah, I was 10.
Oh,
And we've
Aaron.
probably known each other since I was
Yeah.
about 10 years old.
Yeah, it's
You
been,
know, out on the
me-
job sites.
Me, you, and your dad.
Yeah, and I just want to take this minute to thank you for your community service, for your civil service to this community, and also for your tenure working for the Department of Health and as a sanitarian for how many years?
40.
40 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Catlett.
Last Thursday after we met, I delivered 2 checks, one to Parks and Rec for $50,000, which is LEDA funding through Senator Blair for the new pavilion at War Memorial. And it's actually a replacement. And I delivered one to the Senior Center. The main bus that they use for transportation was in an accident and received only $39,000 from the insurance company. With the 50, that brings it to 89,000. They're going to be able to purchase a new bus now, so that'll be a big help to them. And again, that was Senator Blair that funding. We kind of cleaned him out on that as far as his LEDA money. So before he leaves office, while I was there, they actually were hosting a luncheon for the noon Rotary. First time they ever did that, so that they asked me to stay as a guest since I serve on the board at the Senior Center representing the county. And Amy did a nice job, and they had some presentations and some demonstrations. And I think everyone that was there that probably had never been to the center before were very impressed with the facility. And believe me, they're very thankful that the county Gary and I have been talking about that recently because their leases needs to be renewed. So, but they're very thankful of the county and the support they get and us owning that building and taking care of it like we do. So,
It's one of the nicer.
it is the nicest.
Facility in
I'm
the state.
told the nicest in the state. And Amy just won an award for the best director of the state of West
Oh, yeah.
Virginia. So they're doing good things over there. A fellow board member, Richard Dennis, sitting there. Would attest to that. So, and then later that evening, last Thursday, I attended the Eastern West Virginia Economic Alliance dinner. I don't know if it was beneficial or not, but we did get to sit and chat with 4 of the Jefferson County commissioners were there. Of course, we all know Steve Stollifer, but the three new members were there and got to meet those folks. And hopefully we can develop a really good relationship. I think one of the highlights of the evening for me was that we talked about, and John Hardy was there and brought this up, a lot of counties on their own do a day on the Capitol during the legislative session, and we discussed maybe doing an Eastern Panhandle joint day on the Capitol this year during the legislative session, where all 3 counties would be involved, just Oregon, Jefferson, and us. So I think that's a good thought, and maybe we could follow up on and follow through on that. So Monday evening, I did attend the Planning Commission meeting here, and the reason I attended was because the West Virginia DOH was there, represented by Ken Clowen locally, and they did have a gentleman, Luke Miller from Charleston, on the staff down in Charleston. And they asked for comments at the end, and of course I had a few to say, and
A few.
and you know, Eddie and I attended the session they had at Romney a couple weeks ago, and we just got to keep tooting our horn until we get attention here. And I'm a firm believer that the squeaky wheel gets greased, so we got to keep up the pressure to get them to help us here in Berkeley County.
He promised you answers to your questions or not?
There's no promises ever, so just, we'll take it under consideration type stuff.
But you got no answers, right?
Oh, no.
More questions than answers.
Well, yeah, but I'm wanting to indicate what kind of response he got from his.
Tuesday evening, I had a sewer board meeting. They did extend the Woods Treatment Plant project through May 31st. It's behind schedule a little bit, but there's no issues with that. It has affected the funding for the project or anything, so it should be completed by the end of May. The Hedgesville, there were 6 different pump stations out in Route 9 west towards Hedgesville that were replaced. That's totally finished now, signed off on and completed. There was a representative there from Brown Edwards Auditors who did the audit. They're out of Harrisonburg, Virginia. They reported that the district is in good standing, not only financially, but with their work ethic and everything they're doing, and it was outstanding. So, good report there. We always follow the sewer board meeting with the stormwater meeting, and the same auditors did their report as well, and it came back very satisfactory as well. I was really disappointed to hear that Richard Lewis has yet to file the appeal in Charleston for us getting an individual permit, and they promised that they would get. He has promised that he would get on that. He apparently turned it over to another attorney, and they didn't follow up on it. But so our appeal hasn't even been filed at this point in time, and that's very discouraging. We do have a meeting coming up on December 4th, Gary and I, with Gannett Fleming. That's the firm that is doing a proposed new fee structure if we get a new permit at some point, which would take Back Creek Valley completely out of the stormwater area and develop a new fee structure. Right now, I think it's fair to say that the existing fees in place, the $42 a month, is bringing in about $1.6 million a year. And it seems to be enough at this point. But at some point, the stormwater thing is something that no one wants to deal with, but unfortunately, you don't have any choice but to deal with it. And we're going to have some funding down the road to address some issues and repair some issues. The problem is you turn these stormwater things under development over to an HOA, but you don't have any recourse come back on them if they don't do it to maintain it. So other than fix it yourself, that's a legislative item perhaps in the future that we need to address, to try to correct that situation so we have some kind of pressure on the HOAs to handle this. It's a responsibility that nobody wants, but unfortunately it's forced on us to take care of. So, and I did want to say, I talked with the Battlefield guys this week. SHPO in Charleston did approve the Hoax Run Battlefield site, taking over that easement. And also the federal organization, the federal funds have been approved for the purchase of the Hoax Run Battlefield. So great. The money's going to be there. We're waiting on the completion of I think the only thing left down at the Hoax Run Park is the bathroom that needs to be finished. Once that's done, it'll be completed. The appraisal will be done because at that point it should appraise higher than it would have if it was done prior to that. And then hopefully sometime this winter we'll be able to negotiate the settlement on that property to receive some funds for it. So all that I have. Thank you.
Eddie.
Yes, Mr. President, last Thursday we had a fire board meeting, and the previous meeting, Quad Graphics had came in and appealed their square footage after the new fee had been put in place. They also questioned some of the outbuildings that they have that we would consider their maintenance building, storage building. It's not like a an outbuilding that you would have at your house. Obviously, these are large buildings. They didn't feel that they should be put into the calculation either. With the help of our legal staff, it was decided by the board to not accept their appeal and stay where we are with the square footage. The square footage is provided to us from the state tax office. So there's some fine lines of dancing with numbers, but those are the actual numbers that we have to work with. And if they have a concern with that, they need to take that up with the tax office. So their appeal was denied by the board. Also, one of the major events that evening was that the fire board agreed to help the county in paying for staffing. That's never been done, but with the increase in the fire fee on the commercial rate, they feel as if they will be in a strong financial position to be able to assist with that. And I know we have that discussion coming up later on. Also had a Parks and Rec meeting in the Brick House. I think I mentioned earlier that it is now part of the rental package, and it's already been rented. And I think they have 10 additional reservations for it at Poor House. Mr. Catlett had mentioned Hoax Run Park. Actually visited there last Saturday, and it's really nice. I mean, the pavilion's just really nice that Macy's contributed to the park. The stormwater management stuff is in. There's a small playground. Yesterday, they should have been setting the trusses on the restroom. So all those things, of course, the trails, already gravelled in. It's really nice. It's just really nice. And really look forward to the Battlefield Group enhancing that property as well, especially for the educational portion.
And they will, because every place they take over, it's first class.
Yeah.
If you haven't visited any of their sites,
it's
first class.
It'll be extremely nice part of our county. On the basketball side of Parks and Rec, they had 768 children sign up for their leagues this year, which will be at the Rec Center and Randy Smith. So they got a lot of kids involved there. They got 317 in futsal.
What?
That's indoor soccer. It's indoor soccer.
Practice starts tonight.
Yeah.
Because the young Getty has brand new shoes. She's ready.
Yeah, something new that they're going to do is Christmas in the Park, which will be at War Memorial, and they have tree sponsorships that will be available. So if anybody's interested in that, please contact the office there. They've also signed a lease agreement for a new skid steer and a UTV to be used by the park system. And December the 4th, they'll be meeting with the city about the pools, the future of the pools, and moving forward together. So that's about it.
Any word on the property down on the Pecking Creek at the Bay Meter Bridge?
Well, it was mowed down and it looks extremely nice. They had a contractor come in and grade the area really well. I was through there about 2 days after, and right there in the middle of the parking lot was a couch and a chair somebody had dumped out.
Irritating.
It is. You try to do nice things in the county for people to get access to, have fun, enjoy themselves, and then you've got people of that caliber dumping that stuff. But it looks really nice, and we'll see how it goes.
Any other questions? No. I had a couple meetings on Monday. Let me follow up with the Thursday meeting with the Development Authority down at Bricks. It was a good meeting. I kind of complained more than I think we talked about on economic development, just to give another perspective as to maybe something else they could look at as far as giving ideas to, businesses on how they would want to share, their wealth with our community, and, making quality of life programs kind of prioritize, them and looking for better stuff for around here. So, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good meeting. It was kind of hard to hear some of the conversations that were going on because, being up there in that upper part, but I thought it was a pretty good meeting, and it was well attended. We'll be having our legislative meeting coming up here pretty soon. So hopefully we'll have some more input to give to our elected officials going to Charleston.
Yeah, and we invited the Jefferson and Morgan County to join us at the legislative discussion. And also Region 9 was very helpful there.
Yeah.
And they have agreed to help us with the mansion Capito money that was awarded to the Roundhouse. So they're going to help us there.
I did attend Monday a meeting at the Health Department with the elected officials from the state, as well as senators and delegates and myself. It's sort of like their legislative summit, trying to get their biggest item, I think, that they talked about was regional pay for the sanitarians, because it is a struggle to keep good employees, and we know that on our county level, because over the years we tried to do employee retention. So it definitely a tentative ear to their needs also, and I think Bill will probably be splitting some time between here and Charleston this year, and Kara takes over his position, but he'll still be doing the financing, he said. So that being said, I think as we go to Charleston and do our lobbying, I think there's a lot of things this county needs that we can do better for in Charleston. So I think they had a tentative ear to that too. So I had an airport authority meeting, and our two gentlemen from the authority are here to kind of enlighten us about what their needs are coming up for the late 4th of July celebration. For lack of better words, we could be doing better in fuel sales and things like that at the airport, but it's not completely dismal. But we've always had this little stigma. Anybody you talk to, that I kind of go out and whenever somebody asks me something about, well, that's a military airport. No, but Nick and his team have done a really good job of rebranding the airport for public use, and it's everybody thinks just because the military's out there, it's all military, which it's not. It's actually a general aviation airport, and the military is our tenant. So, but Nick has done a good job, and his staff to do some rebranding out there, and we still have to find that one niche that will make that airport the shining diamond that it is. So, it's a struggle, but it's not quite the end. So we're looking forward to making things better there. What else was there? I believe that was it. So, any other comments or questions about board or meetings? Any appointments or anything? All righty. Chad, we have you here, Deputy County Administrator with Tim Zaya, and Community Corrections Director, full-time DRC driver. You want to?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Tim's not able to join us today. He's actually in interviews pretty much all morning. They're interviewing right now actively for their deputy director position, which but in front of you, the request today is currently the DRC has 7 drivers allocated. Of those 7, only 2 are full-time. There is 1 vacant part-time driver position right now, and the request is to merge 2 part-time positions to make a full-time. The addition to that 3rd full-time position is going to give the day report center a lot more control over peak times, and obviously that service continues to grow. So having an additional full-time driver makes more sense than having more part-time drivers.
What do they drive?
They're driving vans primarily. I think they have a couple small SUVs too, but mostly vans. They are going out to get program participants. They're bringing them in for meetings. They're taking them in for drug testing. Basically, that transportation division, when someone's in recovery and court-order treatment, transportation always becomes a big barrier. The DRC providing that transportation breaks down a lot of those barriers and helps the program be as successful as it is by helping the participants be successful.
So it's countywide where they pick them up and deliver?
Yes. Yeah, and so you have 2 full-time drivers today, and that is being supplemented by 5 additional part-time drivers. One of those positions is vacant. The part-timers are sort of available around their schedule. They have some peak times, but Tim and the staff at the Day Report Center believe, and I agree with them, that merging 2 part-time positions and making an additional full-time actually gives them more. So salaries are covered by the merge. There would be a small addition for retirement and healthcare, but should not be covered with it.
I need a motion to approve the full-time or DRC driver.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? And a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir. Next up, Mr. Deal. I see you have an entourage with you there. So come on up and
Forever working an angle, this guy.
yeah, he's coming up smiling, so that's a plus right there. So. And he also has our legal director, Jim Marshall, with him, Airport Authority's legal director. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, Jim wears a couple hats. First, he's general counsel for the airport, and also the chairman of our Columbia Foundation, which is a nonprofit that we have a lot of these events. Just to give you a quick rundown on what's happening at the airport. We've been very busy there. We're looking at several projects. We just had the installation of one of the, any of you that are into electric vehicles, we have a rapid charger out there now. I think it's probably the only one in the state that's not a Tesla rapid charger, but it's only for airplanes. And so if you have an electric aircraft with batteries, let me know and we can hook you up. And on another note, we're having
One about this big.
yeah, we've
Might,
Point
it
me
might
to which
help
ones
me.
are electric so I can stay off of them. That charge runs out up there.
yeah, you're
Put solar rings on it.
yeah,
So.
it's a little disconcerting to even think about that.
You don't want to go too far from the patterns.
That's right. Yeah. Now we're working with a company. It's the company's name is Beta, and Beta has. We're going to be doing a big announcement about this pretty soon. But Beta, they're building these electric aircraft. They're battery charged, and they're in the process of getting. They just got another approval from the FAA actually last week, and so we anticipate seeing some of those aircraft coming and going. We happen to be in line with one of their routes they want to take. And so it's exciting to see that there at the airport, and it's some of this new technology. So we're keeping busy with that.
How long does it take to charge one up?
Well, I don't know for sure.
Depends on
A
how
car,
big it is.
Yeah, but
I mean, a car with a rapid charger is usually about 30 minutes or so. So I don't know if that's about the same with electric with one of those battery operated airplanes, or if they have more batteries in them. I don't know. I'm going to Beta in a couple weeks, and so I can probably answer that.
What's that cost, Nick?
We don't pay anything for it. They did all this plus they're paying the electric bill. So the cost to us is nothing. One of the struggles, the cost to them, quite a bit. I mean, those rapid chargers are about $300,000 a piece. And so it's a significant investment.
That also includes, I think, everything coming from the power company, just the charger itself. I mean, that's the infrastructure to get to it. Is that correct? Or
Well, no, actually, some of that infrastructure is
is it
even
an
more than
additional
that,
cost?
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was
This
wrong.
is well, in some cases, I think that's true. This one's looks a little beefier than most of them.
Okay.
So I don't know if it has a larger capacity than the ones you see elsewhere or not. I'm not sure.
So if I was to fly my electric plane in, what does it cost me to charge up mine?
So I'm guessing for an electric car, it costs about $20 or $25, between $20 and $25 to fully charge your electric car on most of those rapid chargers. And so my guess is with a plane, it'd probably be, maybe it's double that, I don't know. And since it has aviation attached to it, it could be triple that because it seems like
Pretty reasonable when you.
yeah,
For product liability.
it's still very reasonable. Yeah, it's no, I think it's I definitely in my mind, kind of like Mr. Boyd was saying, I'd be a little nervous about flying in a strictly battery operated airplane. But if it was a hybrid, that would be something. So maybe like electric cars, they'll come out with these hybrid airplanes. I don't know exactly what that future holds. I do know it's coming. We were at a conference last month, and the deputy administrator for the FAA said she said it's not if they come, it's when they come. So she said, so be ready. And so the problem that we have as an airport is how do you monetize that? How do you generate revenue from something that flies in? It's too light to really charge any kind of a landing fee, and then it comes in, charges up, and leaves. Typically the way we make our money is selling fuel, and so we've got to figure that out. Since we're not paying the bill on the electric, but we're also not getting any revenue from it. And so that's the part that as we move into the future that we've got to figure out is how you generate revenue from something like that.
Is Elon Musk involved in this at all?
He's actually not, but he actually is involved in another one. There's another, what's it called? I think it's Joey or something like that, like Joie or something strange like that. He is involved in one of those, but I don't know. I don't think he has any involvement at all in this one.
Data.
But right now, there's not a very high percentage of planes that are.
No, matter of fact, this one will be one of the first ones to even be approved for flying. So I did find out that the Department of Defense does not have to get all of the approvals through the FAA, and so they have a contract with some DoD group, and so we're told we're going to probably see these aircraft sometime next year, but they'll be DoD aircraft. They'll be beta aircraft, but they'll be through the Department of Defense, and so we'll see them come and go, and then they think that the following year we'll see commercial use of that charging station.
We got a C-17 pilot on staff here.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Passenger.
I did see an Osprey out there yesterday.
Yeah, I got video.
Yeah,
I got a great
'cause he,
video. If you want to see
They just
it.
put them back into service again here
Yeah.
more recent. So,
Yep.
yeah, it was
That
nice to
was-
see that.
That was all. I just happened to be outside when it came by, and so I got my phone out. And you'd think after 6 years I'd stop doing that, but I still get excited when I see stuff.
When you hear something new, you always turn around and have to take a look and see what's the new noise. So.
That's exactly right. No, it's awesome to be out there. We as an airport, we have tried to do what we can to support the local community and to do our part. Back when the city had it, before you guys got involved, the city gave the West Virginia National Guard about 10 acres of property just off of Kelly Island Road, and that's where the Armory building is. And so that's one little thing that they've done. Of course, they gave the fire board some property over on the other side of the field several years ago for the fire station over there, right on Route 11.
Station 29.
Thank you, Station 29. I could not.
Is that right?
I was trying to think of it. Couldn't come to mind. I figured, you guys would know. But we've also tried to work with any other agency that's come to us. We try to help them out as best we can. And through our Independence Celebration, we've been able to incorporate a whole lot of other groups from the community into that program, so that we can not only be able to showcase the airport, but we also bring as many community agencies out to that event as we can, and have as much outreach as we can to the general public. Any of you that were out there this past year, it was a nice event, other than the fact that now it didn't rain in Inwood, it did not rain in Jefferson County, it didn't rain in Hedgesville, but it poured down rain at the airport. And it seemed like it was just one spot, and it started pouring down rain about 5 songs into 38 Special, and it didn't stop for 2.5 hours. It was a crazy rainstorm. And so that was very frustrating. So we had to do the fireworks the next night. But that event was well attended. The fireworks I was very surprised. The fireworks were packed. That was very well attended as well on Sunday. So anyway, it was a nice event, but we're coming to you this year to request support again for that event. It's it is some work. Our foundation does that work with other volunteers in the community. Most of you have either been involved or helped us in some way, and I certainly appreciate that. It's been fun to do this event. We do other things out there. Some of you might have been involved with, like we had we always do our pancakes and plains breakfast in October every year, and we had about 300 people come out to that this year. And then we had actually we had our first trunk or treat, actually, thanks to Jim's girlfriend's idea. She called, she's like, "Hey, I think you guys should do this." And so I was like, "Well, we'll give it a shot." We had almost 700 people out to that event. It was huge. I had no idea there'd be that many people come out for trunk or treat. So that was a big success. And then we've got our Christmas with I forgot what we call it, but we have basically I think hot chocolate with Santa, or cookies with Santa, I think is what we
He
call
comes
it.
flying in, doesn't he?
He flies in,
Yeah.
and we're doing
Not
it
quite
on,
with the reindeer, but
Yep.
close to it.
close enough. Yeah, the FAA doesn't like reindeer flying over.
No, they don't
Brings
like
too
them
much
anywhere
fun
on
on the
there.
runway. And so that'll be December 19th. So you'll get some information on that too. But yeah, this event though is again, it does take a lot of work, and it's not a cheap event. We last year was a tough year just because of all the rain and things, and because we had some just unknown expenses there at the end with regards to stage and lighting and all kinds of other things. So we were, that was
A little bit of a curveball.
yeah, the foundation is in the hole quite a bit frankly for that, but we're ready to go at it again. So we are here to request your support for this event this year, and inviting you, if you do support this, we want you to come out and enjoy this time. And I'm sorry for jumping around. As a side note, we did get a grant to do some renovations to. We call it the cinder block building. It's the building that if you're coming in Aviation Way, like to the restaurant or to the terminal, there's a little white, or actually it's not white, we painted it tan, I think. But this cinder block building had been sitting empty for years. And so we have gutted that, and we're getting ready to put in some new floors there. We put in a window, and it's going to be a little classroom area, so that when we have a lot of homeschool kids come out, we used to have a lot of kids from the local schools come out, but it's I guess transportation is a bigger and bigger issue to try to get students from school out there. So we do, I don't know, probably 14 or 15 homeschool groups a year, quite a few. And so the problem we've had is we never really had anywhere where we could talk to them while they're looking at the field. And so we fixed up that little cinder block building. We got a grant to do that. We're hoping, one of the things we were saving for that we still hope to do, and I've talked to Commissioner Catlin about this too, is putting a pavilion directly behind that, so that we can also utilize that building in conjunction with a pavilion later on, so that we can do have larger groups out, and we can utilize it for community events as well. So I think that'll be nice, but we're working on that still. So with all that being said, we are here to officially request some support for our Independence celebration that we would like to hold the Saturday prior to the 4th of July this year. And so with that, I will let our president, Mr. Marshall, say a couple words.
I'm just here to support the MRB Foundation today. I'm not here to serve as legal counsel for the EWVRA, but that being said, last year was a big disappointment for me personally and a lot of the volunteers and everything. We spent a lot of time and effort, as well as treasure, on putting that show together to have the rain just target the airport. The first 2 years, I thought we did a really good job. I think we're probably going to have to scale it back again this year, but we still need the funds to be able to do it. It's a good event. A lot of people show up. We get a lot of vendors out there as well. But we're going to need some more support this year in order to pull it off. So we're just here to ask you guys to take that into consideration and hopefully help us out so that we can put on a good show for the community again this year.
You say you want to have it on the Saturday before the 4th, so that's the 28th of June? Is that correct? Okay.
We try to not do it on Independence Day, because the city puts
Right.
their event in. We also try to work with everybody else, so we're not conflicting with other activities.
Would it be safe to say that rain date yet, or have you picked one maybe?
Well, we can do rain dates with fireworks. Sometimes it's tricky to do rain dates.
With performers?
And that was the issue last
Yeah.
year, is that with the band, the 38 Special under their contract, they didn't do it. It's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we do the more local things, I mean, it's a little bit easier. Push things around.
Yeah, the 4th of July is on Friday this year, or next year, I should say. So I didn't know if if there was a rain date, would you push it to the 5th or the 29th or 30th?
The other issue with the rain date, if we do a rain date, all of the things that we rent, like
Mhm.
tents, we just have to rent them again
Yeah.
if they're available.
Right,
And so we could try to, I don't know how we would work that.
yeah,
Because I do know July 1st, Independence Day, there's a lot of people.
right.
So I don't know if there's a way we could try to reserve those. The problem is we're basically paying for them twice.
Right, there's a lot of
That's-
logistics that
that's
have
a
to
large
happen.
expense.
Yeah.
That's
That was just trying to
Yeah.
give a heads up to anybody listening, what we would
Yeah,
do.
no,
So,
I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Jim.
I was going to say, and the stage too is another expense that has to, probably one of the bigger ones that, in order to do a rain day, they consider the patient that they're going to be renting it to somebody else over that week. It's going to be a busy week for those vendors.
Do we have performers in mind yet, or are we still in the search, or?
We've been kind of tossing that around. We're likely going to go with some regional performers this year.
Okay,
Was that this insurance and fireworks continue up the price of the state. Don't really have a whole lot of money. So we're definitely not going to be doing a large, but we might find some good local.
or if there's any other corporate sponsors out there that would like to donate to the MRB Foundation to improve the.
Very welcome.
Yep.
You can really do anything. Money.
I think that goes with a lot. All righty, y'all have heard the ask, and so we need a motion to approve the funding for the Independence Day celebration. Was there a dollar amount that, was it the?
Yeah, the dollar amount, it historically been 100,
Mhm.
and we'd like to ask for that. Last year, we had some money saved back before, but we didn't spend all of it. We scaled out events. We just showed right after.
Right.
But
Worth more than that.
with that, but what we ended up doing, and we saved that money back for the bigger band, but then it's my fault. I did not explain that last time. Ask you guys, and so because then you all just have to say, okay, this is the amount that you got, so we'll fill the gap. But we were hoping to do the same amount last year to get 2 years before, so we been a little less upside down. But that's my fault, not yours. So we're asking for the full amount
This year. All righty.
Yeah. Gary, the pilot program that we have with Commercial Metals Corporation will handle that, correct?
That's what.
And that's what our original thought process was.
So you've heard the ask. Do I have a motion for the funding approval for the Independence Day celebration?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You want,
And you guys, that's been a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've not heard one person from the community complain about anything out there. You guys have done it.
That's very good to hear. A lot of times they don't tell me. They just
Oh, man, no, they look forward to it, and of course, when time gets closer, people will be asking, hey, they're going to do that celebration. Absolutely.
and it's free,
Right. And that's what
you know,
we try
free to the
do.
community.
Yeah. A lot of people say, oh, if you're storing funds, you ought to charge. But I do not want to ever charge for this.
I would not like to think that we would have to, but, for the foundation, if somebody would come in their car and say this, would you donate for the foundation of MRB? Just as they pull in, it may be $1, maybe $5 a carload or something. I don't think that would be too inappropriate to ask.
Yeah.
Because we do have a lot of volunteers that volunteer for that, to help park cars, to help disperse the cars.
Really do.
You know, the sheriff's office, the state police, the signage, I mean, it does take a lot.
I must say, your county administrator helped the entire event last year. Huge help.
His whole his
What, was it
family.
a green shirt you were wearing?
It's taxing holding that sign up.
Yeah.
He had his arm in a sling for you.
He's getting ready to have surgery here next week. So.
Comp claim. I got hurt doing that, Nick.
But, you know, if that would, like I said, I hate to even think about it, but I don't think it would be, I mean, it's not mandatory. If they feel like it, I think if, you know, if somebody's standing there with a, you know, with, you know, they donate, because I would. I mean, but I'm different than everybody else, so I don't want to.
A very good point, actually.
So
I don't know if we will do it as people are coming in, because that ends up stomping cars out the road, trying to put different entrances.
right, you know, it would be for the MRB Foundation for the continued support of the Independence Day celebration.
Regardless of how well you plan, how much you spend, you're always at the mercy of the weather, so.
That's very true.
I handled it for the city for 25 years, and one year we got rained down 3 nights in a row. And our pyro was Bill McDonald. He says, Stevie, he said, if we get rained out tonight, you're going to have to wait because I'm going on vacation tomorrow. So, so on the 4th night, we found. Well, traditionally, the other practice is you Zambelli shoot your show.
Yes.
So while they're here, they want to stay and do it the next night. They may not be able to come back a week later or something. So that's part of the issue.
And it is a phenomenal show. I mean,
They do an excellent. It has gotten more expensive every single year. Of
course.
And I thought about scaling that back, but it's such a nice show. I just hate.
even, you know, the score of music that goes with it, it is quite an event. I mean, it's well worth it. I think it is for the community.
Yeah, you're right. They were very excited because in our contract it said that the rain date was the following week, and they asked when it started raining last year. They said, "Can you chance we do it Monday?" You know what? We'll get the word out. We'll do it tomorrow. And I don't know how we filled up 2 of our big field cars to watch that.
Yeah. You know, I don't know how, I mean, they have to protect them pretty good with tarps and stuff, because I just know that flash powder does not work well in the rain.
In the rain, that's
But
exactly.
they keep it safe. So.
It doesn't work well at all, no.
Yeah.
You get some misfires.
Yeah. You've had those?
They go sideways instead of yeah.
But in their defense, it's far enough away from the crowd that I don't think that's a problem.
Definitely not going to hurt the crowd.
Yeah.
You could take out one of their guys.
Well, they're closer than what we are.
Yeah.
All righty. Did I call for the question on that?
Yeah, we already voted.
Voted on? Okay. Well, thank you all very much.
If you need any help with bands and that sort of thing, let me know.
Well, I was going to ask if you would mind performing.
Yeah, no. Yep, absolutely.
Sounds good. Maybe we'll put you on the MRB committee. So. All righty. Next up, Gary Wine, Administrator, State Budget Revision Number 4, Fund 001.
Thank you, Mr. President. In this budget revision, you have $936,038 to redistribute. A good portion of that Steve was carrying around in his pocket with those checks, and we had $496,936 come in. That was a goodly portion of that were those kinds of checks.
Just pass through.
Yeah, it's pass-through money. So $496,936 will go into the state grant account. I'm proposing that you move $102,273 into account 700, which is the sheriff's law enforcement account. A large portion of that was also, there was a couple grants, but the large portion of it was contracted services where they've done work externally and billed, and those checks that came in. And then the last piece is $336,829 into your fund account 988, which is your construction budget. So the total distribution again is $936,038.
I have a motion to approve State Budget Revision Number 4, Fund 001.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Next up, Day Report Center project update
Yes, sir.
and change order.
Potentially. So
Potentially.
as the commission will remember, Steve, I don't know that you were here yet, but when this project started and it was designed to have 3 floors, there was an immediate need for 2 floors. As you can see, the campus is filling up and dirt is limited. So the commission decided to build an extra floor in the project for purposes to get ready for growth. And in that same breath, the conversation was had, and it was decided that if there were residual monies at the end, residual bond monies, that you would step back, look at the blank template on floor 2, and then take off. So you are going to have some monies left over. If you'll recall, we had a budgeted, and it came in a few $1 million under budget on the construction piece. So with change orders and such to date, I'm projecting somewhere between 1.2 and 1.5 million dollars left over of the bond money. So I had the architect sit down with Tim and kind of look at a design, what a design would look like for floor 2. It was purposely designed to open so that in the event there is more demand for staff or whatever Tim gets us into next, because we all know he's one of the hardest workers we have and never says no. So if he can add a program or add an effort, he will. So on the second floor, they're proposing, Tim right now is, if you've been over there, is shoehorned in the first floor in a very tight confined space. So he would move out with administrative staff to the second floor. There'd be 3 of the recovery coaches or any of those efforts up there. And in that room you see in the drawing, that's a glass facing room. So out into the library area, the common area, the kitchenette, the recreation area, that's part of their program. That's part of the processes they do. Right now they go into the group rooms and they sit down and they play Monopoly. It's all about working together, right, and helping them. So this creates some open space. And is light on the physical construction. So in the event, a couple years down the road, you need more office space, you'll just have furniture there. So I think it's a smart vision for that floor. It gives you an opportunity for change at a later date, minus obviously the construction on which would be the northeast end. So what the ask is if the commission agrees and likes the design, we can put that to the architects and have them do the build, issue it to the GC for a price, then I would of course come back for your approval on the price and the change order.
Okay. Open
At
to
one time, we were talking about renting maybe potentially that floor, but
We did, but that becomes, I don't think, we've had that conversation today about someone that's asking for some space in this building to do some work that's not relative to you. Our buildings aren't designed to have corridors open and closed for someone to come in and use it. They become part of the normal workflow. It's real hard for us to get into business, letting someone else exist in the world. So those conversations kind of fell through, but in the back of my mind all along,
he's going to grow and use it soon. Probably.
If history is any proof, yes, sir, he sure will. And they're generating close to $3 million of grant revenue and just general revenue by themselves. So, and you help one, you help the million, right? So look at all the success stories that come through it. So,
my question, Gary, is what happens if we don't spend the revenue bond money?
So after the expiration time, I believe it's 5 years from the bond sale, you can be applied to the principal. And it can only be used, I learned this myself, that money can only be used on the parcel of property that building exists. So
you can't take it anywhere else.
But
Well, that makes sense because that's what it was designed for, not another building a mile away.
there's lots of strings with that bond money. So
Yeah, with that open space, Gary, allows a lot of flexibility for future.
Oh, my
when
goodness.
things, and they will, as we continue to grow, those needs will unfortunately continue to grow as well.
Right. Okay, you've heard the asks, so do I have a motion to, let's see, Day Report
essentially
Center
present the plans for a cost proposal.
update a change order process? Do I have a motion? Have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries, sir. We have an HVAC train contract renewal and a motion to give the president to sign the document once it's approved.
Yes, sir. So this is a gyration you do every year. I kind of enjoy this one because we worked really hard since this project kicked off 2 years ago, knowing that we were going to drive down maintenance costs, because one of the factors into the presentation for the massive upgrade and change you did was the realization of savings on the maintenance side. So you have lots of equipment that's been taken off and replaced. You have an open contract with Bolin Train. This will be another out year of the 5-year renewal. It is $117,820, which is a reduction in $42,075 from last year.
Very
But
good.
we grew. How did we get that reduction?
So you replace very old stuff
Yeah.
with stuff that's under warranty.
Not going to
And
require as
then,
much.
once it goes out of warranty next year, the risk for service is much lower. So it's not like you're going to see the reduction of 42 this year and then it jump right back up next year. You'll be back in the 3% growth or something like that moving forward. But again, that's
This includes all of our buildings, correct?
It doesn't. It includes the 911 center, the day report center, the sheriff's department, the judicial center, and this building. So animal control, there's a couple other
Yeah,
small ones.
senior center and stuff like that's
Right.
not under
So those are very small, it's
compared
called
to.
light commercial units, nothing like the size of the stuff that's on.
Okay.
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second for, to approve and give the president the authority to sign the document? And a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Will do.
My point back to that, Gary, was I was thinking because of the new systems that we're putting in with the ice and all, is that causing us to have less maintenance needs?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's more efficient, I would think.
It is.
I know it is
insanely
cost-wise in terms of operating and cooling the place, but in terms of maintenance on it,
So just to give you an idea,
Is it a
the
burden?
judicial center alone, we took 6 30-ton units off the roof, 6 of them, 30 tons apiece, right? They have all of the mechanics and all that need fixed and repaired with HVAC. Took them off. We set that big chiller in the parking lot, so you have one compressor, and on the roof are just
Ground
fans
level.
with air handlers.
Yeah.
So all of the maintenance effort that would have been put into the big IntelliPacks is eliminated, and now really the maintenance is only with the piece that's in the parking lot. So yeah, it's the model for purposes of service is very effective and efficient.
Did I call for the question on that?
Okay. Jeez, it beats Jim.
Yeah.
All righty, moving right along. We have bid recommendation, full-size truck.
Yes, sir. This is the commission opened bids last week for a full-size truck for law enforcement. This is a twofold win. The true need for the vehicle is with community service, with your vacuum cleaner that's used for road cleanup. Right now, the only vehicle issued to them is the big 1-ton box, not box truck, but stake body. When you put that little tiny vacuum behind it, it disappears.
Can't see it, yeah.
Not to mention during roadside efforts, the big truck is used as a barrier between the truck ahead that's pulling the sweeper. So they've got a separation between the team doing the work and the cars coming. They have been using facilities 1-ton older vehicle that's been, I think it's 7 or 8 years old, but it also is dual purpose salt spreader plow truck for facilities. So we've had this borrow a truck kind of thing going on for a while. Fast forward to a conversation with law enforcement, and I tell you, Sheriff Blair and Chief Burnett and Chief Young honestly are just a pleasure to deal with. They came and said, hey, we've got this seized vehicle that they use for their CID, their intelligence division, that's Toyota Tacoma, which is exactly what we need to pull the sweeper. And they're like, we'd really like to get that replaced with a full-size vehicle because we've got some constraints with some of the stuff we do. So I said, I tell you what, let's see what it lays out there. So instead of getting something for roadside, this works out in both places. For what we need the Tacoma for with community service is perfect, and this fixes the issue and the demand of law enforcement. So the true need was a community service, but it works that way. The low bid actually is from Matheny Motors out of Parkersburg. It's for a GMC Sierra. That's their pro model, so it's just basic that you can get in a vehicle. Has all the components and stuff that we asked for. $42,858 is the acquisition if the commission.
Okay, you've heard the ask, so do I have a motion to purchase the 2025 GMC Sierra 4x4 Crew Cab?
I wish we could do it here locally at Parsons Ford, would be nice, but I guess they stayed on just a few dollars, yeah.
So not only the few dollars, but
not comparable in
they
terms of the
didn't meet
vehicle.
specs.
Okay.
The one that they proposed was more of an extended cab. It had the two smaller doors in the back, not
And
a
not
quad
full-
cab that
full
we
door.
asked for. So while I would agree and I would wholeheartedly support that, and it's not my decision, but it didn't actually meet specs.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. And firefighter staffing discussion.
Yep, we missed one.
Body cameras.
Oh, body cam, I'm sorry, law enforcement body cameras.
So just for purposes of conversation, the IT manager, Chase Weinberg, is in the back, so if we get real technical questions, Chase can answer them for you. You have been a customer of a company called WatchGuard for about 20 years. You started in the in-car camera business with devices that took DVDs. So the car would record, and if you needed evidence exported, you get a DVD out of stock and you go out and put it in, sit there while it wrote the transaction to the DVD, and you take it out, you go back in the office and you make a copy of that for your file, and then you give the DVD to the prosecutor's office for access to what they have. Fast forward over the years, it went to the next generation of cars that when they came in, IT set up a network that allowed the car to talk wirelessly to the building. So when the car pulled in, it would offload the video to the computer system that exists here. And then the officer could take the video and put it on a thumb drive and then walk it over and give it to the prosecutor's office. Then we evolved to the ability of now the cars they upload the video as they're driving down the road through a cellular modem that's in the vehicle. So at any given time, that information is uploaded and lays in the computer system that exists here. We have access to it all the time. Then the next step was the computer system evolved and allowed the prosecutors to get user accounts to the videos from their office. So now, as the cars are driving down the road and the video is uploading, law enforcement staff can sign in, prosecuting attorney staff can sign in and see it. It works great. Body cameras do similar they do have similarities. While they aren't a constant upload, there's little docks in the car. If they take them off and set them in the dock, they start their upload process. But typically that happens back here when they come on station. Fast forward to 2024, and Motorola has now acquired WatchGuard and has made they've evolved greatly and had awesome changes involved in their software, where now they're changing their model, and our on-premise scenario, which is our computer system that lays here that holds all of this stuff, they follow the model of the industry, and they now have it as a service. So now instead of us owning anything from the computing is concerned, it all lives in the cloud. When we showed law enforcement the new features and functions of this, they were like, can we have it tomorrow? This has been probably a year process going on and kind of getting it to where we are here today. So it not only does it offer features and functions that we can't provide internally with the computer system, not because we aren't that smart, but because Motorola and all these other companies are smarter than us, is they now only offer features and functions that are the awesome tools. that you can only get if you use the cloud-hosted version. You can't have them with the dumb version we use internally. It's the industry. Microsoft does it with Office. Axon does it with their body camera stuff. It is what it is. So some of the features and functions that they'll inherit if the commission chooses to fund this is, if I'm on a scene and I've got this and I'm just Gary Wine and I showed up and I've taken pictures or a video of an incident, that officer can give me his card or her card. I can scan a barcode and upload that video or those pictures right to the file, right to the evidence file from my phone at my leisure. So you see it all the time where social media's got this or that, and that's one of the things they struggle with. Like, we really need to be able to get this information to the public. They don't want to come in and give it to us. They got it. What, can they email it? Well, now it's too big. Can they? So when they saw that, they're like, so please, thank you. It's beyond its value. The other thing that it offers is the ability for them to easier share access to the footage with outside agencies, where right now it's not as easy as it is to offer with their in-house version. So if the officer wants to share it with San Antonio PD for some goodness forsaken reason, it's a couple clicks and all of a sudden San Antonio PD is watching the video of something that's transpired that maybe they've got in custody down there. The one other thing that's really important to discuss is, in this proposal, not only does it offer brand new body cameras immediately for law enforcement, animal control, and home confinement, it also provides the latest and greatest technology for all 75 of your police cars. So it's a complete technical refresh from the physical recording devices, new software. And the last thing that we negotiated in the project was, in 3 years, whatever the current model is of the body cameras, you'll get brand new ones in 3 years for everybody, wrapped up in that price. So it's a win-win-win. Comes at a cost. Our cost, as I told you in the memo, we spend about $50,000 a year in maintenance now, and that only goes up. I can't tell you what we spend internally on storage. 20 grand a year. 20 grand a year just to store it. So we're at $70,000 probably all in. I didn't factor the 20 in. So if the commission so chooses, well, I'm not asking immediately, but the IT budget probably by end of year would need an infusion not to exceed 150,000. It will be some number greater than what it is. But I get geeky about that stuff. I think it's great. It's kind of like the Motorola radios, when we evolved to the newer stuff for the firefighters. In this world and in today's age, not having the latest and greatest body cameras and in-car cameras to protect the officers and the public, I think it's a wonderful idea, but I'm not the person that...
Okay, you've heard the explanation and the reasoning. Is there a motion to approve the law enforcement body camera upgrade?
Yes, Mr. President, I will make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. And the reasoning behind this in particular is not, it is truthfully to protect our deputies and to protect the public. I mean, that's the beginning and the end of it. The way society has turned and changed and evolved, I think that it's critically important that when situations occur, that the system ensures that there's an accurate account for everything that happened. And I think it is an opportunity to protect our employees and at the same time protect the public. So,
And you mentioned it's almost like real time. Almost, it is.
Well, so in this instance, in this proposal, you will absolutely, from not you, but the administrative efforts at law enforcement, have the ability for real-time viewing of body cameras. So the concept is, if there's going to be an event where it's a dangerous situation and the sheriff, they need to monitor what's going on, they absolutely can watch these real time. Not the whole fleet, certain. And if I could ask with your motion to give you the authority to sign the paperwork, please.
We've heard the ask to move to accept the law enforcement body cam proposal upgrade and give me the authority to sign. Had the motion and a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries, sir. Firefighter staffing discussion.
So this isn't the first time that this body's had a conversation about an opportunity to increase its professional firefighter staffing level. Commissioner Goodenow mentioned earlier, the fire board has already approved committing to being a partner in funding additional staffing, which is amazing by itself. Eddie and I had a meeting on October 30th with Donna Cross from the fire board and the fire board chair. We talked about what it looked like, just to start the discussion, because it was always been, we're not going to spend these on staffing, we're going to spend it on necessities. Eddie's role and his diligence with building this relationship, I think, got this body here today. I gave them what it looked like. Initially, we gave them the cost of a firefighter, and they asked all the right questions. They said, well, you know, your firefighters have step built in them, so their pay increases as time goes on. So we did a 10-year analysis of what it looked like for them that took 9 firefighter ones and what it looked like for the next 10 years as they progressed through your current pay scale. And they presented it to the fire board, and the fire board has agreed to participate in a partnership with you to fund 9 firefighters that is essentially, it starts out at $720,778.12 per year. And then at year 10, and that's of course with no cost of living raises and no changes in benefit level, in 10 years, that would be $807,529.70. So over the 10-year cycle, you're going to commit $7.8 million in staffing. The fire board has agreed to split that with the county commission in half. The ask today is if the commission wants to move forward and commit those monies, that you give us the green light to start working the process. There's memorandums of understanding that need revisited with all of the volunteer fire departments. We have to have an MOU in place with the fire board to guarantee the funding annually and so on and so forth. So if the commission wants to move forward, you know the demand is there. You now have a partner willing to split the costs of at least the funding of the officers or the staff funding out of the gate.
When do you think this would go into effect then, as far as?
We would start, if the commission approves, we'll start immediately. The funding's there from both parties. The MOUs are the lot of work. We could turn the staffing efforts over to Chad Weinberger.
Before the next fiscal year then?
Oh, yeah, you'll start then. Now, will you place 9 firefighters by then? I can't answer that question. But
That'll be the bigger hurdle for hiring.
human capital is not easy to find. But this would start immediately with the intentions to get it going immediately. We have to get through all the I's and T's to get ready, but the staffing stuff could be happening in the background ASAP.
Of course, everybody sitting here has heard the request. Every volunteer fire department in this county has asked for staffing. This will put us 4 out of 5 staffing. Everything that is being staffed is on this side of North Mountain, where majority of all the calls are. So, having said that, that still leaves us 1 station without staffing. And I've promised that I will continue to work and try to find those dollars to get that station staffed.
You're saying new staffing, without new staffing, they all have staffing.
Just not
They have 12-hour staffing.
Right,
Other
but
than,
you're saying new staffing.
I'm staying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days
And
a
this
year.
would take all the other 4 to 24/7?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so this is monumental. It truly is for us to be able to reach this agreement with the fire board, with the increase in the commercial rates that they had last year. This affords them that opportunity to be a partner and help with the staffing. Neither one of us can do it on our own, and this is the only way to be able to get people help you know, around the clock, whenever the call comes in, we know that there will be guys or gals on the way in a fire truck. We currently have 24-hour staff on law enforcement. We have it on EMS, and where we were staggering is with our fire service. This does not negate the necessity or the need for the volunteer fire departments. They still, obviously, it's their facilities, it's their runs that we're running. They will play a tremendous role in this as well. Like to answer some of your questions, Steve. So, you know, this is truly a great opportunity to get an immediate response for the county. Now with Back Creek, we're still lacking those 12-hour shifts during the day, you know, on the back 12 and weekends. So, you know, we're not done yet, but this gives us really a great opportunity to get this rolling. So,
Eddie, I want to take this minute and thank you for all your strenuous work and continuous work to make Berkeley County safer. And you played a pivotal role in making this happen, and I want to personally thank you.
Ditto that, the same. Appreciate
Well,
all you did
there's-
to make this happen.
there's lots of people, and the guy at the end, you know, and Donna Cross and her staff, and the fire board, the chairman, the previous chairman, Hunter Wilson, played an important role in this as well. So, you know, there's been a lot of people come together, and finally we're able to get some traction and hopefully get this accomplished as well. That's a big deal.
I think it's a given when somebody new comes to this community and they call 911, they expect somebody to show up, and this helps that need. So, all righty. So, do we have a motion to move forward with the professional staffing of firefighters and the compensation analysis?
So move, sir.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. So the MOUs will all get together and all those.
There'll be lots of work now.
All righty. We've got an executive session for economic development. Any action to be taken out of that?
No, but if you'd add
Legal
Also
action?
legal.
Also legal? Okay.
Mr. President, I'm here to do an executive session for legal and economic development.
Could we take a quick break first?
Please.
Well, I was going to get back to that, but Jim got ahead of me on it. But, okay, we're going to go into, take a break and then come back in executive session. Thank you. Okay, we're back in session. I need a motion to go into executive session for legal and economic development.
So moved.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. We're in executive session. Okay, we're out of executive session and no action to be taken. Mr. Barnhart,
Well, it's been quite a meeting, but I'd like to recess.
we are in recess.